Hello and welcome everyone to Voices for Change. I'm your friend Hina and we talk about real life, real people and real problems. Today we are diving deep into Victoria's financial report of 23 to 24 and I have got my special guest Keen Chung who is going to talk to us about it.
Hi everyone, and look, I get it. Hearing financial report may make some people want to tune out, but trust me, this is about way more than just numbers on a page.
Right. According to the figures, these government decisions have some real implications for everyday folks like us. It's not just about budgets, it's about your wallet.
Yeah, exactly. Based on what I'm seeing in these numbers, there is a direct link between those high-level decisions and how much we are paying for our essentials.
So let's jump right in. One of the biggest issues popping up here is the impact of that new COVID debt levy, especially with the payroll tax on bigger businesses and higher land holdings charges.
Right, so if larger businesses are paying more tax, I'm wondering what's that got to do with me as a regular consumer?
Well, think of it this way. If you're a cafe owner who suddenly owes more in taxes, you might bump up the prices to stay afloat. So that extra 25 cents or extra 50 cents on your cappuccino or latte could be coming from these payroll tax changes.
Whoa, I hadn't made those connections before. So basically, the cost just trickle down to the rest of us. That's kind of alarming.
And there's another piece that really stands out for me: housing. According to the numbers, higher land taxes could translate into higher rents. It's not great news for people struggling with housing costs.
Right, landlords face bigger bills, so they jack up the rent, and tenants are already quite stretched. That's a tough spot for renters.
Exactly. Then you add the fact that wages aren't keeping up with inflation. Sure, salaries might be going up, but not as fast as the prices.
Yeah, that's huge. So even if you feel like you got a raise, but in reality, your paycheck doesn't stress as much. And according to these figures, real wages have actually dropped by around 2%.
And here's another eye opener. Those temporary cost of living relief measures, like energy rebates, may not stick around.
Wow, that's rough. I know a lot of family rely on these rebates. If they're gone, it's going to get even harder to cover some basic expenses for those people.
All of these cost of living pressures are one thing, but from a bigger picture, these numbers also point to some risks for Victoria's overall financial health, like the state's rising net debt.
Right. The data says that the net debt is now around $133 billion. And with all the big infrastructure projects lined up, the debt might keep climbing.
Yep, and let's not forget a significant chunk of Victoria's revenue comes from land transfer duties, which depend heavily on the housing market.
That's a bit scary. So, if the housing market cools down, that revenue stream can take a hit. And then the state financials could even feel worse than right now.
Yeah, then there are massive infrastructure projects like the Metro Tunnel and the Northeast Link. The data suggests they are at risk of going over budget.
They might help in the long run, but right now, costs could balloon. And that would even stretch the budget further.
Another major factor, climate change. Based on the information I'm seeing, Victoria is quite vulnerable to floods and bushfires, which are massively expensive to manage.
Yeah, looking at what's happening in LA right now, it's not just about the immediate danger in Victoria, but the cost of infrastructure repairing, businesses disruption, emergency response, those costs can really pile up very quickly.
So, to summarize, we've got rising daily expenses, increasing debt, unpredictable revenue streams, big infrastructure costs, and the looming climate threat. It doesn't look really good.
That's a lot to take in. Well, but thankfully, from this report, we can also see some potential solutions. Let's dig into that.
Absolutely. So, according to the data, there are ways to navigate these challenges, like managing debt more sustainably, exploring public private partnerships, and making sure that big projects are carefully planned.
Right, and another big one, diversifying the revenue base. Instead of relying too much on one tax source, the report suggests that we might need to get new or border taxes, although that's always politically tricky.
In the short term, they recommend targeted relief measures, but instead of blanket subsidies, focusing on helping the most vulnerable households should be a priority. That could mean expanding social housing, more affordable public transport, or direct financial assistance.
Yeah, those sounds like practical steps to help people who are feeling the pinch right now.
And there's the climate angle. Investing in resilience, making infrastructure ready for extreme weather could save money down the line and protect our communities.
Exactly. If we forfeit our roads, our power grids, and essential services right now, it might prevent huge repair bills in the future.
So it's not all doom and gloom. The numbers highlight some real risks, but they also suggest paths we can take to mitigate those risks and move Victoria towards a stable future.
Right. And this is just one piece of the puzzle. We all have to play a role here. We need to stay informed, ask questions, and hold leaders accountable.
Let's wrap this up by looking at how these financial realities might hit specific areas like healthcare, education, housing, and more. Because ultimately, this affects us all at a very personal level.
Exactly. Let's start with healthcare. The data shows that increased spending, but also rising costs. That could mean longer wait time if money can't keep up with demand.
Same story with education. More funding, but costs are skyrocketing. According to the figures, things like university fees might keep climbing, which could limit access for lower income students.
Yeah, housing is also a critical issue. Not enough supply, rising land taxes, growing rents may make homeowner and renter both feel tough right now.
And then there's the climate change again. We are likely to see more extreme weather events, so day to day life could be affected by disruptions in transport, energy, and agriculture.
Right. Preparing for that now, based on all these figures, could save us a lot of trouble in the long run.
So that's our deep dive. The numbers we've looked at paint a challenging picture, but there are always solutions on the table.
And it's up to all of us. Government, businesses, every one of us live in Australia. We need to work together and shape a better, more resilient future for Victoria.
Thanks for joining us. Remember to stay curious, stay informed, and keep an eye on these developments. Until next time.
Absolutely. Take care, everyone. And don't forget, these figures matter because they affect you. Stay tuned for more insights next time.
Thank you, everybody.